the spouse of a very famous porn star, and I'm very, very excited to have him here today. And we're going to have a little bit of discussion about how he got there and anything else that's going on from his point of view as being the spouse, not the porn star himself, but the spouse of a porn star. So Denver, welcome to Madam Suzanne's channel. I really, really appreciate you coming here today.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited to be here. It's fun to actually be able to talk about the stuff.
That's right. That's right. Well, this is here. That's what we do here. We give you a voice so you can really talk about everything that you're going through and whatever else you want to share with the audience, because it's a very, very unique perspective on our industry and the people that's behind the industry. So this is what we're trying to do, is just, trying to give a little different angle and perspective on what really happens with the people that are in the industry versus the perception that the public has. So yeah. I really want to thank you for coming here today. So, just go ahead and, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm actually a retired paramedic. So I've been retired for like 5 years, got into another trade, which is, I kind of keep that on the, I don't really, like I said, I don't want to talk too much about it because it's kind of weird because like, it's a very professional trade. So I don't know how they would view it if they knew that my wife was a porn star. So I just keep that very private, so to speak. And, but besides that, I mean, I've been married to my wife for 10 years and, haven't always been, when I met her, she wasn't in porn. So I kind of grew into that with her. So she's been in the industry for about, 6 years, but like 6 years, but then probably about the fourth or fifth year, she really took off. So that was that's kind of been exciting and adventurous and, definitely a growing moment for any guy or any relationship, that's for certain.
So tell us a little bit about how did you get from you guys being married? Just give us a little bit of a timeline. I'm sure the viewer is really curious, like how did you transition from being married to being married to a porn star today? Like how did that happen?
Well, it's I guess the Cliff Note version of it would be her and I, when we first met, we were both kind of wild, crazy, we loved excitement, and so when we got married, it was almost like, I love describing it this way, it was almost like two lions or two tigers like taming each other, so we were both very devoted to each other. There was no cheating, there was no, there was nothing wrong with our marriage. And just as time went on, we kind of felt like our, that excitement that we both had as individuals in our lives, before we met each other, kind of went away a little bit. And it wasn't either one of our fault. It's just, when you're married, those things just kind of go away a little bit unless you keep igniting them. So after about 5 years of being married, we decided to kind of dabble into the swinger lifestyle. So right before that, we were kicking around the whole adult industry part, and we did it a little bit, but it wasn't anything serious. We would start a Twitter account. We would do little personal videos. It wasn't anything big. And then once we got into the lifestyle, things got a little, we started getting a little bit more, more into the lifestyle. We started getting a bit more free or open-minded. So then I would say that's what ignited the, what I call the brand. That's my wife's porn. I call it the brand. That's what kind of ignited the brand. Because we're in the lifestyle, we had access to other people, that were interested in, if not the porn industry, more like just, they're more promiscuous, they're more, I guess you would say, like, they're just more into videoing and stuff and having fun. So we started integrating that, and next thing you know, like, the brand took off. Like, I mean, literally there was 700 followers on Twitter, and within weeks there was thousands just from posting little clips of like the adventure, so to speak. So that's kind of like what ignited it. And then once I started getting into it, it was a whole different world. It's not just somebody throwing up the camera and, you know, filming themselves. It's way more in depth than that. It's everything from marketing to, social media stuff to videography to, planning shoots out. I mean, it's pretty intense. Everybody thinks that like the porn world is just some glorious like little easy thing to do, but it's actually very intricate. It's actually hard. People don't consider it a job, but when you're in the industry, it is a job.
Absolutely. Definitely. Like I remember from my standpoint when pretty much all my girlfriends were escorts in the past, and it was definitely a job when we used to shoot every week, and I had to edit them, and we had to to plan them, and write a script sometimes, depending on the time of the year, and for the members and all this stuff. It's definitely a business, and and that's the whole trick. Is if you're really good at it, you make it look for the viewer that it's a lot of fun. It's just like we just happen to be going by, and all of us just shoot it, But it really is a lot of work. So yeah, I agree with you.
It is. It's interesting because when we started off, we started off as the independent. So we decided to, although some bigger name companies approached her at first, we decided to kind of stay independent because, I mean, we weren't somebody that, we weren't a couple, or neither one of us, we weren't like desperate for money. It was something that we were kind of doing as fun that kind of blew up. So we decided we kind of took more of a business angle to it. So we were very smart with not signing contracts, not getting locked in. And because what happens is a lot of these new people, they come in the industry and they have no clue of what to do. So they get with an agent, or they get with a brand, they get with a production company, they sign these contracts, and basically the company owns their brand. Owns everything they do, owns their social media, owns their .com, owns the rights to every single video they have. And as time went on, we realized we made the right decision by doing independent, because by doing independent, we kind of built a nice foundation, so to speak. And then as that foundation got bigger and bigger, then the mainstream started paying attention, saying, who's this? Like, where'd this person come from? Right. So then that's when more mainstream people started reaching out to film. And yet, even though the mainstream people reach out to film, we would not do a contract. We would do what's in the industry, they call it, trade content or shared content. You just both parties get to keep the video.
Right. So
we did it the smart way. At least that's what everybody tells us. Every time we run into the people because we have so many friends now that have been in mainstream porn their whole entire career, and now they're kind of getting out of it, and they don't know what to do because they don't own any of their content, like not one even clip. Some of them don't even know their brand name.
Yes, it's definitely a very, very important, especially nowadays that everybody could be a producer and a writer and a videographer and an editor. It's very important you own your intellectual properties. That's everything, and that's what you guys are doing. That's really, really smart. It's to own your own intellectual properties and produce your own and publish your own, and that's the only way to have really control of your content.
Oh, I know.
So let me ask you. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to note, like, as you go along, in the industry, and you start to build your brand starts to get bigger and bigger, then other people reach out in the industry. Other
That's
people
right.
that are, people that shoot for the big companies that maybe have contracts, but now they've realized, wow, I need my own content, to really make it in the industry. So then they, it's almost like, I hate to say, it's almost like a family. Everybody starts reaching out and says, hey, are you going to be in this city? Are you going to be here? Are you going to be there? We can get some of our own content,
right?
Which we already have all of it, So, but it's kind of interesting seeing we kind of did it reverse. Like we did it the total reverse. We did it independent into mainstream, where most people go mainstream and then try to do independent. But
so real quick, like I want to ask you this question. It's a very important question. Like for me, having a girlfriend that was an escort, and I was the one behind the scenes that was actually doing the emails and the calls and booking on appointments and screening the clients and stuff. I had to develop what I call separation. It's very, very important to have that separation between the girlfriend and the escort in my case. So that said, how do you navigate your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, both mentally and psychologically, in between your wife on one side and the porn star on the other?
No, that is something that was at the very beginning when we first started doing, you know, some of the filming. There were a lot of the videos that say I would be in, or maybe it was just clips, but then there was a moment that we, like, I want to call it like jumping the fence. Like there was a moment when I said, hey, look, I can't be in these videos anymore. I just have to be the videographer. So the very first video that I ever did where I wasn't participating, or I wasn't, I was just a videographer. That was a hard moment. I'm not going to lie.
Let me ask you this real quick, then. Why did you make that decision not to be in the videos anymore and just be the videographer? What made you decide that?
Well, because it was her brand. Like the brand was really starting to take off, and the brand, like which is interesting because after being in the industry for a little while, I saw this later, but not right at the beginning. I just thought as a business move, it was smarter for her to not be married, to not have, relationships with other people, and basically in the porn world. Because I noticed that a lot of couples that would do things later on, I've realized there's a lot of couples that would, create their own content, really weren't they were successful for just a little independent, but they couldn't break that barrier to go into like mainstream.
Yeah, viewers get bored. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. No matter how many outfits you change, it's still going to be the same. So
because guys, when they watch some of the adult stuff, it's like a fantasy. They want to fantasize about this girl, the things she's doing, what they could, they fantasize they're in the video. Well, they can't fantasize her in their video if she's with her husband. Because they can fantasize being the husband, but that's not over and over and over and over again.
Okay, so take us back now. Let's go back to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Now let's take us back to the moment where the first video you shot of your wife, when you were actually not in the scene and you had to actually videotape other people with your wife.
So we were in the lifestyle for probably, I don't know, maybe about a year and a half, at this point. So just to be blatantly honest, like I'm a different person now, when it comes to like being able to, just being able to think about and assimilate things. And, I'm not jealous. I don't even think weird thoughts about anything. But that very first video, that was kind of like an eye opener to me, where here another person is pleasing my wife while I'm videoing. so that was a surreal moment. But because of where we were in our relationship and how strong our marriage was and how close we were, I looked at it differently. Like I didn't look at it as like she's cheating or she's doing something bad I just all of a sudden looked at it like a business, so to speak. Like I looked at it and I thought, okay, this is different. I'm just going to think about it. It's not something, it wasn't bothering me in the sense of jealousy or anger. It was different. It was something that I had never experienced. So after we got done filming, I thought about it. I just kind of let it go through me. And then I thought, this is business. This is business. Cause when the scene was over and we're together and it's like, business is normal, like we're husband, wife, enjoying each other's company, and then she's so good at I forget she disassociates herself. Like she can pull her, like when it's a scene, it's a scene. When it's personal, it's personal.
Absolutely.
And she can, she's really good at basically, dealing with that. Yeah,
That's
separation.
that
He
right
has
there, Denver,
separation.
is
Yeah.
the pivotal moment right there when your brain decided that I'm going to separate my wife from the porn star. And I had to do this in the escort world. It's the same thing because I got to, not only was my girlfriend, living girlfriend, we had a relationship, we weren't married, but we were, serious. We were together for a few years. And this is the pivotal moment when I had to decide, and I'm the one who's booking her, which is like you're behind the
Yeah.
camera. I'm the one who's booking her with these guys. I'm like, okay. And you read reviews and everything, you know exactly what's going on. But that's the pivotal moment that, in my humble opinion, I would say 98 or 99% of men cannot do, which is make that decision, that mental, psychological, emotional decision that there is two separate entities here. There is the girlfriend or the wife on this side, and there is us, there's the porn star or the escort on the other side. And here we are trying to navigate in between all these things. It's not an easy thing. And it's not for everybody.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was, I mean, it's interesting when you just even my video skill, I don't even have that video up because you could tell my video skills, like, it's almost like you could tell I was looking at the camera and then maybe looking at the real thing, like in the real thing and going back in the camera because in my mind, I was like, okay, this is the first time I've done this. Like, how am I, like, what's going on in my head? Like I had to simulate everything that was going on in my head. And it wasn't anything bad. It was just that first moment of, like you said, of separating them. Mm-hmm. And it was, I mean, everything was fine. And when you look back at my video, like, cause I do most of the videos myself, the videography. So my video skills back then, when I was concerned with separating it, are totally different than now. Cause now it's like, as soon as lights, camera, action, it's business. I'm the videographer.
Right.
I'm saying certain things. Like it goes from like, okay, she's not my wife anymore.
Correct.
She's the porn star. And then I act accordingly. And then once all the scene's done, we're all done, then it's right back to she's my wife.
And actually, like, this is one of the reasons why in the escort world we chose two names. Just like strippers, they use two names because you got the real person and then their alter ego, if you will, is the other person with a different name. That's a pseudonym that we use because it really is two separate people. You got your wife, and then as soon as the camera is on, now she becomes that other persona, correct?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time. It's I say her name and it'll give it away, but it's she's 1 minute she's my wife, the next minute she's the star, and it's two totally different I don't want to say beasts, but it's like it's two totally different personalities.
Correct. So how long did it take you, Denver? How long did it take you? I'm just curious. How long did it take you to go from trying to process it and digest it, actually having other people in the shoot and everything with your wife / porn star? How long did it take before you're actually 100% comfortable, or are you today 100% comfortable with it, like completely?
I'll just be honest. I would say it probably took me a good year. I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, to where I just, like, I think nothing of it. Like, it's not a big deal to me at all now.
Same here.
Yeah, Same here. I'd say it was about a year because I can count the videos. It was probably maybe 15 videos in, 12, 15 videos in, but I'd say about a year. And little things would kind of, and it was nothing that I would ever discuss with my wife. It was just internal things that I would say, I don't want to say battling with, but it was internal things that you just got to kind of adjust, and you realize, wow, like I thought I was an open person, and I am an open person, but all of a sudden I'm a little bothered by this, so then you think about it, you just, you really, you dig deep inside you to think, okay, what is it? Why am I like this? And then you maybe pull out a piece of like you were a little bit jealous, or you had a little bit of insecurities. That even if you're open, there's a lot of people that say they're open, but yet they still have those insecurities and those jealousies and those control issues. And, some people, even when you think you're good, something happens and a little bit will come out, and so that's why I always say, being in the industry, it was a very growing moment as a man.
Correct.
Because a lot of guys, just in general, I mean, I could even say that, before we ever got in the industry, I probably had my moments where you have insecurity, or, little bit of jealousy about something, or, you know, and those are the things that ruin relationships. Like, it's insecurity, jealousy, control. And it's interesting because you don't really realize as a man that you have those things until you get put into situations where you, like, you know your wife loves you, you know you love your wife, but now you're having to deal with something that is outside the norm, you know, so to speak. So a lot of that, you know, it was definitely a growing experience. I mean, I grew a lot, but even just the way I think, you know, the advice I give people about their relationships, you know, when you see somebody, you know, you see you see a couple arguing, and, you know, you're like, what, you know, what are you guys arguing about? Like, it's like, this is nothing. Like, you guys, you know, you guys are trying to control each other, you know, and you're just ruining your marriage, you know, over simple, you know, psychological things like control and jealousy, which is, that's what destroys marriages.
Well, you know, it's like everything else in life. This is just the path of many that you guys are going to take together as a couple and individually. And it's just growth. We're always growing. You're evolving. This is part of life. You know, you always evolve in whatever path you're on. And then you either take it to the upteenth level, or you can move on to a different path. So it's just, this is all normal. Everything you've gone through, processing, you know, evaluating, really thinking about yourself. And, you know, it is really good because you had to actually dig deep inside yourself and try to figure out, you know, why am I having these thoughts? Why am I having these feelings? Can I deal with them? And you digested everything, processed everything, and here you are today. It's commendable for sure. I'm going to give you some positive affirmations, because that takes a lot of inner strength and dedication. Actually, that shows how strong your relationship is. And if people just have that kind of strong relationship, there's nothing they can't do.
They have a wonderful life, a wonderful marriage. Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, you know, a lot of people that you know, that I talk to, they, you know, they're like, wow, like, how can you let your wife do that stuff? You know, there are people that find out, they're like, yo, that's weak. You don't let your wife do that stuff. And I would tell them, I'd say, you know what? I go, it takes more strength, you know, internal strength and fortitude and confidence to deal with, or to I mean, I've already dealt with it, but to deal with it in the beginning and get through it and still have a great relationship and marriage, that takes more strength than telling somebody what to do. You know,
Absolutely.
Saying, don't do this, don't do that.
So that takes me to the next question, which is, do you deal a lot of perceptions? Like in my line of work in the past, and even what I'm doing today, you know, people, some people, of course, keyboard warriors and people like this, and people have things going on in their life. They look at you and they judge you right away. They're very judgmental. They go, oh no, this guy is this, like with me. Oh yeah, he's a bad pimp. He took advantage of the girls. He did this. None of it is true, because the way I did things is completely, and if they just listen, but people come in with certain perceptions. So going back to you, do you deal with a lot of perceptions, and what are they mainly? Like, I think you just mentioned one, and how do you deal with it, with the negative perceptions?
And you know, it's I get that, and I get that. It's what we call the vanilla world, you know, where people aren't in the industry and they're just normal people. You know, I get that in the vanilla side of our life, and then I even get it when we were in the swingers, you know, or, you know, the lifestyle. I mean, the normal side says, wow, you know, what? How could you let your wife do that? I couldn't do that. That's gross. Like, you know, it's like, don't you worry about, you know, STDs and all this stuff, but they don't realize they test every single time. Like, they don't realize the stringency, you know, the stringent stuff that they do in the industry. And then you have it on the lifestyle side, which was kind of shocking to me, because you would have on the lifestyle side, there were not all of them, but like you said, the keyboard warriors. Well, how can you let her do that, or why would you let her do that, you know, with this type of guy or that type of guy? So, I mean, which was shocking in the lifestyle, because a lot of people would say, like, aren't you afraid that your wife's going to leave you for somebody else or want somebody else? And I'm like, well, no. I was like, no. I said, then that's not love. If she's going to leave me for somebody because of something sexual, then obviously we don't have a good loving connection, like a spiritual loving connection. And then one of the things, I remember this vividly because I wrote this long thing on Facebook. Someone had made the comment about, I can't believe you let your wife do interracial porn, or like, like he was really bashing stuff. And I actually took the time to actually write this long little summary of what he just said. And, and basically it all comes down to, like, most of these guys that are saying stuff, they're not confident in themselves. Like, they lack confidence in their own life, in their own relationships, their own marriage, even who they are as a man. Because, I almost feel bad for their wives. Like, I feel bad for, because it was mainly the guys that would say stuff. Most of the girls didn't really say anything, but at least I did. They didn't say anything to me. But most of the guys that I met that were negative about it had issues in their own life. They had bad marriages, bad relationships. I mean, some of them even had bad marriages that were married, didn't even realize it. Because they obviously, because they don't connect with their significant other, their spouse. And, or they think they do, but they don't. But right. It all comes down to, like, that the control and jealousy. Jealousy and control, that's where we would get most of the comments. It's almost like any comment came from someone's inner jealousy or control of who they're with, and they want to put it on you. Like, that's society's norm. Like, society says you shouldn't be this way. But that's not it. I mean, society's painted a bad picture for the adult industry, for escorting. I mean, and it's just kind of time that people spoke up and said, hey, this isn't the way it is.
Right. Exactly.
These people are great people. I mean, I went to a dinner, with my wife and a bunch of porn stars and escorts, and they were some of the greatest people you'd ever want to meet.
That's right.
I mean, just high class, good people, families, just had kids, some of them married, but they really took pride in what they did. And I mean, sure, the money's there, but it's for most of them, it's not even about the money. So they were just good people. And some of them even sit there and donate to charities.
That's right. That's right.
Some of them donate a lot of money to charities. They just do it, anonymously.
All we can do, Denver, is do what we do and be proud of who we are and be the best person we can be and have good intentions in anything we do. And if people have projections and insecurities or reflections of telling you something, but really everything is projection and reflection of who they are and how they feel inside.
Oh, exactly. Yeah,
to me,
exactly.
Honestly, with all due respect, to me, that's their problem. I'm going to do me. I'm sure you're going to do you. I believe in that prostitution should be legal. I believe, just like porn is, I believe that people have the right, if they're adults, to make their own decisions. If they want to be in the adult industry, if they want to be married to somebody in the adult industry, or if somebody wants to, use their body as a service for other people. I mean, that's really, this thing is way long overdue for legalization.
Oh, it is.
And it's just, you're always going to have those people that, the Bible thumpers or whoever it is you want to call them, where they feel that they're holier than thou. And in my humble opinion, from my experience, the more religious, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but it's okay. I noticed that the more religious people are, the more judgmental they are, and really the more effed up they are, to be honest with you. Because who am I to judge you, or judge anybody else? I'm just being me, and I'm trying to be the best person I can be. Just because, and I tell this to everybody I talk to, just because we're in that industry, just because you're in the industry, your wife is in the industry, I was in that industry in the past, it doesn't mean that we're bad people. And this is why one of the reasons why I'm doing all these things and the interviews and hopefully the movie and this streaming thing is just because I want to change some hearts and minds. Like, look, not everybody's the same. I'm not a guy that's grabbing a 13-year-old, putting her on the street, taking all her money, beating her up, and then put a needle in her arms. You're not putting a needle in your wife's arms and, hey, why don't you go do this scene here? Let me grab all the money and I'm selling it to all these guys or to the porn industry. No, it's just we're doing the best we can, and this is something that we like to do, and we're doing it in the right way. We're doing it the best way, and it's up to people whether they accept it. But you know what? They always have a choice. Just like now, if they don't like this interview, click delete. It doesn't matter. Just stop it. It's
funny because some of the social, because I help out a lot with the social media and stuff. And it's just interesting because some of the people that would go and complain, or say bad things about the industry or just sex workers or anything, you go look at their like IG or their Twitter, and they're following these people. They're secretly following these people. Not to spy on them, but to engage, because they, like, deep down inside, it's almost like maybe they're ashamed of their own sexuality. Like maybe they have fetishes they're ashamed of, and then they want to put that shame they're putting out on the people that they're actually
Right.
getting pleasure from.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
So
they're the ones who's watching your wife's videos.
exactly.
Secretly, right?
Secretly, I know.
So another question. So just to summarize everything, what's the good things you've been able to take out of your experience as the spouse of a porn star, and if there is any negatives? So like, what's the positive, the pros and cons of being married to a porn star?
Some of the I'll start with the negatives. It's not a lot, but the negative, it's because it's people, they don't realize it's a business. So I am constantly like, I don't look at her like when she's on video or I see her stuff somewhere. Oh yeah, there's the porn star, but then when we're home, it's my wife. And then when we have to do stuff with the brand, it takes away from sometimes us, because it's a business. So we're so busy with everything from videos to interviews to, like trips, anything. People think, oh, they're a porn star, they just make a ton of money and they don't work for it. Let me tell you what, they work for it.
Oh yeah.
It's not just it's funny because this is what I love about being independent. Like when we do our shoots, it's kind of what I call raw. It's real. It's, from beginning to end, not a lot of breaks. It's more real. When you go to what I call like the mainstream, so to speak, like when you do a mainstream shoot, and that's like for one of the big companies or something, it's an all-day event. Like people think a 30-minute video is a 30-minute video. No, a 30-minute video took 8 hours.
That's right.
Like, and you're there, they're doing photography, they're walking through the scenes. It's not just some perverted, like, let's show up at a warehouse and, film something. It's like a movie set. I mean, it really is like a movie set, and they're going over their scripts. Literally going over their scripts.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's people don't realize that part. So I think the downfalls would be some of it's very time consuming, and it's good to keep busy, but then there's sometimes you're just kind of like, wow, let's put a halt to it just for a couple of weeks, but you can't, because it's like business. You got to keep it going. It's like you can't stop doing your business for a month, and think you're going to come back and it's going to be successful.
You got to be consistent.
Yeah, and I think some of the pros definitely for me is my growth, as a person, being more open and not judgmental and no jealousy, no control. I mean those right there. I mean that's very free, as a man, to sit there and not have that kind of stuff, and yet still be able to be in a good, solid, loving, strong relationship. And then the people we meet, like, believe it or not, people that we meet in the industry, everything from porn to sex workers, are some of the best people I've ever met in my life.
I agree.
I mean, they're open, they're spiritual, not religious. I mean, some are religious, but I mean, like spiritual. They're really in touch with themselves, in tune with themselves and the world around them, and they're just good people. It's like they have a message that everybody should listen to. But because of what they do, certain aspects of society block them all, and that's what's bad, because these are like amazing people, like they're just, amazing people. I have not met one. I've met a couple like shady producers, but that's with any industry. You're going to meet
you have that everywhere.
people.
Yeah.
But in general, the performers and most of the people are very nice. Like they're very nice. They're very respectful. You got your bad parts of the industry, just like any business,
That's
but
right.
in general, they're good people. So that's nice meeting some of these people and becoming friends with them.
That's right. And this is what I'm trying to do, Denver, is I'm trying to create a platform for people in the industry to have a voice and to be able, because it's been in the shadows too long, you know. I'm trying to bring it out, try to show people, look, man, you know, these are not bad people. Just because she does X, Y, and Z for a living, it does not make them bad. That's just not who they are. That's something that they do, you know. Just like if somebody's a garbage man, or somebody electrician or a plumber, it's what you do. It's not who you are, hopefully, because we're very multi-dimensional. Hopefully, we're not just one-dimensional. I'm not just a banker, you know. I'm an exercise guy. I'm a mountain climber. I'm a boater. We hopefully that's what, you know, life is about, right? Okay, so do you have any advice at all? Because we're always trying to help people on this channel. If somebody is in a position where they're struggling with somebody like in your position, how you were, you know, a few years ago, where, you know, they're trying to make a decision. Now, do I want to be with someone that's going to be in the adult industry, or should I not? If somebody's struggling with it, do you have any you know, piece of advice for them from your experience?
As I get, it's interesting because I get asked that a lot. Like we'll meet couples and that say do their own little stuff, like their own little footage or OnlyFans. You know, they kind of just do a little bit and they want to go bigger, so to speak. So, you know, when they start to ask me stuff, the first thing I do is I kind of ask questions to the husband or the male partner, the husband or the boyfriend, like, are you okay with seeing her have sex with other people? You know, because if you're not, don't even go near the industry. Like, don't do it. Like, because if you have any type of jealousy or insecurities in yourself, that's just going to come out. That's going to magnify, you know, big time. You know, it's same thing in the lifestyle. Like when people that go into life, there's so many people that go into the swinger lifestyle with a broken marriage, thinking, well, let's go. We hardly do anything. Let's go into the lifestyle and go have fun. Well, once you go into the lifestyle, it just gets magnified. You know, so then you have all these broken marriages. They go into lifestyle thinking everything's going to be fun, and then it's you know, just a wreck. It's even worse. So the biggest thing would be guys like that are with a girl that's in the industry. You got to be open-minded, and you can't judge them, and you can't like try and control them or control what they're doing. All you can do is just help or assist, you know, and kind of like help pave that way, you know, to success, you know, but don't be a barrier in the process, so to speak. And girls, I mean, girls, like I always tell girls, like, if you're going to get in the industry, start as an independent first. Like, don't go sign those big contracts, and I said, get all your own content, get all your own stuff, you know, and then go to these big companies, you know, because if you don't own your content, or if you don't own your brand in the beginning, they're going to own it. And 10 years from now, when you decide you want to stop, you know, what they got on Netflix, they got the after porn, you know, like look at all those people after porn, because
I saw that.
Yeah, I watched them all. Yeah, a couple of them are still successful, you know, but some of them, you know, a couple of them, most of them just didn't know what to do afterwards. Like they tried to go into a regular career or a different field, and they just couldn't do it. And but then there's a few that like really took ownership in, you know. Yes. I mean, I don't know, Lisa Ann, like she took ownership in her brand from the beginning, and look how successful she is now. And she doesn't really even do it anymore. You know, she's on sports broadcast, and I mean, she has her own company, and, you know, and I've met a lot of people like that in the industry, you know, what I call veterans of the industry that I've met. Every single one of them took the brand, owned it from the beginning, and then, you know, obviously went and shot with all these different companies, but always kept their brand to themselves.
Right.
And did all their own content, and then became successful. And if you're doing it for money, you're going to end up hating it. I'll tell them that. If you're doing it for money, you're going to end up hating it. You got to do it for fun, just like any job, and the money will come, you know? I
agree with you, man. That's totally 100% legit. Is there anything else, Denver, you'd like to share with the audience? Any thoughts, anything? You got the floor.
No. Well, watch your show when it comes out.
Thank you.
Support your show and hopefully a Netflix series.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Devin. Listen, man, I'm really, really excited. I'm really happy for you guys. The most important thing I took out of this, and I hope the viewers realize this, is that to me, it actually strengthened your relationship and your marriage being in this situation. And it takes a really secure, evolved person and developed person to be able to get to that level, because not everybody is on that level. And I think it's all positive. I'm a very positive guy. I look at you guys and you guys are awesome. You guys are role models to me. You're doing something really good. You're giving a good service, believe it or not. I mean, just like back in my old days, you know, we were giving a good service for men that needed it and for women that needed to make a living. And the same thing with you guys. You guys really doing a good service. And whether people want to believe it or not, it is a service and it's needed, obviously. Otherwise, all these porn sites would not have the most traffic online, period. You know,
it's open at the industry. The industry's opened up, like, I mean, I can't even count how many avenues it's opened up, you know, in other stuff that has nothing to do with the industry, you know, like, you know, other charities, other things that, you know, that we've helped out in, you know, and people don't even know, where the help's coming from. You know, they may not like it, but oh well. So you just keep it quiet. You know?
And just like everything else, Denver, in life, I always preach, you know what, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You guys, it seems like you're doing it the right way. I like the way you guys work. I've watched your work and it's awesome. My hat's off to you. You guys are doing a great work and great job. And I wish you nothing but love and success. I know you guys are gonna just blow it out of the water. And you know what, this is just one path. That's, like you said, it's gonna bring you to something else. And as long as you have your IP, your intellectual properties in place, and you enjoy what you're doing, like you said, if money is gonna come, it's gonna come regardless. You know, that's what I noticed about my life. Like anytime I always put money first, I got it, but then I lost it. But now I'm letting my heart lead my way, and then what my desires are, and then if the money comes, it's supposed to happen. You know, the universe will bring it to you. So thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. This was a great interview. It's definitely one of a kind. There isn't a lot of people doing what we're doing here, so we just want to try to bring awareness to behind the scenes and about, you know, the people that are behind the people that are in the front. So I really, really want to thank you. I really want to thank you, and I really, really admire your strength, and I admire your dedication, and I admire the way you think and the way you process things and the way you just figured all this thing out. And I'm really very, very excited, and I'm very impressed with the way you do things, and of course with you and your wife being a team. So that's awesome, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for the interview. My wife's the one that does all the interviews, so it's fun for me to do one.
Well, of course, you know, there's always somebody behind the scenes. You know, I was behind the scenes for 30 years. Now I'm in the front, so I know how it is. It's always somebody behind the scenes, and everybody's got to have a voice. So this is what we're doing. We're having a voice here, so people can make up their own mind. You know, this is what the guy, you just spilled out your heart, you know, in front of everybody, and your thoughts and your mind and your emotions and stuff. And it's up to the people to decide for themselves whether they can, you know, deal with that or not. You're still going to be you. You're still going to do what you want to do. You know what? It's still going to be a team. So it really doesn't matter. As long as you guys are happy and you're healthy and you're safe, ultimately, that's all that matters.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
All right. You take care.
Best of luck.
Thanks.